Have you ever told yourself that you would stick to a new habit only to find yourself quitting after a month or two, maybe after a week, or maybe even after a day? Sticking to a habit, something new, can be challenging, can be difficult, particularly if you're going at it alone. And so today we're going to spend some time talking about why accountability and accountability partners are your secret weapon for long-lasting success. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. Welcome to my 100 Days of Consistency Walk. And I'm glad that you're here with me to join me on this journey as we develop consistency, as we grow, as we get stronger. Each day, we're spending time building on the previous day. We're trying to make ourselves stronger, more committed, more consistent, and we're putting a piece of the puzzle in with each day. Today is day number 8. I'm glad that you're here. I'm standing on the campus of my alma mater, Oakwood University. I've got some stuff I'm going to be doing over at the church, but I thought I'd just walk around and we'll talk about accountability. Hey, before we jump into that, I want to remind you that consistency is your secret power. It is the way to unlock all of the potential that's within you. If you are able to maintain consistency, then there's nothing that you can imagine that's not possible, that is not within your reach. Let me say that again, okay? I know that's a bold statement. If you can be consistent in doing the things that are required to get you to a particular destination, let me say that, let me pause, then there is a higher chance that you're going to be successful. What if I told you that there's something you could do that can double your chances of being successful? And that's what accountability does. In fact, we're going to talk about a very important statistic here in just a little while. Hey, thank you for joining me. I'll see you on the trail. Let's get going. Yeah, let's move. All right, so let's jump in. So I remember several times in my life when there were things that I said I was going to do that just kind of fell away by the wayside for whatever reason. I was tired, I was busy doing something else, and so those things never became ingrained. And here we're talking about consistency, and we're talking about why accountability and accountability partners are so important. And there are two key points that I want to get from this idea of accountability and accountability partners. The first idea is, or first thought is, that accountability is your external compass. It is the thing outside of yourself that helps to maintain consistency. Having an accountability partner, we are less likely to get off of track, right? Because we don't want to disappoint people. And so in that instance, what we do, we tend to stay to task a lot more easily because we know somebody's going to be checking in on us, right? Now, this is not a warden. So I don't want you to think of this as, oh my goodness, they're coming in to check on me, and so I've got to make sure I do what I'm doing. Now, that is a part of what you will feel because you are going to not want to disappoint that person. But I want you to begin seeing this as a mechanism for success, okay? This is something that you are putting in place for yourself. So I want you to think of this as a warden that is tying you in, but as somebody who's just there to make sure that you are remaining accountable, okay? I remember when I had a guy that was training me, and so I was at the gym, and we got on we're doing some lifting, right? So, and I'm there, and we put some weights on, and I thought I was, amazing. And so I started lifting 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, not that fast. You get the idea. And
Time
I've
1
gotten up to
hour
maybe
38 seconds. Total distance 2.0 miles. Average pace 30 minutes 19 seconds per mile. Split pace 39 minutes 22 seconds per mile.
So you heard my app out there giving some of the statistics. So I've been walking earlier with my wife. But yeah, so I'm in the gym and, I'm lifted and, the weight's on me and it's heavy. And I've gotten up to 8. And the plan was that we're going to 10, right? 10 reps. And so I'm there and I don't think I could do any more. And I hear that voice. Come on, you can do it. Come here, dig in. One more. You know how we do. One more. Come on, let's do it. And so, come on, I pushed up 9, right? And I can't go anymore. And then I hear that voice. Come on, man, you dig in. You can do this. Right? Come on, let's get it one more time. And boom, guess what? There it is, right there. So it is amazing what happens when we have someone with us that is pushing us. Because I honestly think that dude transferred some of his energy, his strength to me. Because when I heard those words, when I heard his energy, right, I was encouraged to push through more. And so accountability partners are those external forces, that external person that we've given permission to push us, to coach us, to pull us, to drive us in that direction. And if we are remaining accountable, if we allow ourselves to continue to stay in that space, then it's amazing what we can accomplish if we allow them to guide us. Okay, so accountability partners. There's a quote, and I wrote it down because I wanted to make sure that I got it right. And it is that accountability is the glue that connects commitment with achievement. It is the glue that connects commitment with achievement. So what that's saying is that with accountability, right? Sometimes we do have commitment. We say, hey, we're going to do this, and we're looking for a particular destination. But if we're not careful, then there are those times in between where we started and the destination that we will have waxing and waning attitudes, we'll have stresses that will come on. And if we're not careful, if we don't have accountability, sometimes we allow those to derail us. And that quote comes from Bob Proctor, right? So once again, accountability is the glue that ties commitment to results. Accountability. I told you I'd have a statistic for you. And accountability, when you have accountability, you're 95% more successful. You're 95% more likely to reach your goal. Let me say that again. If you have accountability, you're almost 100% more likely to reach your goal than if you don't have commitment, if you don't have an accountability partner or some accountability in your life. So that is the idea, that if you want to go somewhere, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, if you want to have long-lasting results, if you want to increase your chances for success, you want to make sure that you have some accountability in your life, okay? So how does accountability work? And you heard me say some of those words. One, accountability partners are supporters. Yeah, accountability partners are supporters. They are coaches for us, right? Supporters, they're coaches, and they help us to celebrate and keep pace. So let's walk through those. So coaches, have you ever had a coach? Have you ever been in a sport? Have you ever had a education coach, a language coach, a sport coach, a piano coach, an instrument coach, a voice coach, any of those coaches, or someone who's a tutor, okay? And coaches are there to help you determine and maintain the form. They're the ones that say to you, hey, either we need to change a form, or we need to adjust, or we need to do something different. Hey, I like your technique, but we can improve this. hey, if you do this, make this one change, then you will get better success. I remember my son loves basketball, and we went and we were working on his game. So he's shooting, and so he's missing, he's shooting, he's missing, he's shooting, he's missing. And it was amazing that his coach came on and he just made one adjustment to his hand position. And with that one adjustment, his shooting accuracy went up, and it was amazing to just watch him. And all the coach did was walk over and say, hey, I need you to hold your hand or hold the ball in this particular position. So that's the beauty of a coach. And so an accountability partner is a coach that helps you do that. Accountability partner also is a supporter. There are going to be times when you feel like you can't do anymore. You can't go another one. You can't get up in the morning. You can't study. You can't do your mindful meditation. You can't do one more thing. And the accountability coach or accountability partner is that person in your life that says, yeah, we can do it. Just like my trainer in the gym that says, no, we can do one more. And you hear that energy, you get that strength, you get that ability from them. It's almost like they transfer their energy to you to keep you going. And then an accountability partner also helps you to celebrate. One of the things that happens in our lives is we will have these little small wins, and we'll try to wait until way down the road when we've accomplished everything before we begin celebrating. I remember when I was in medical school, I used to say, hey, when I finish my degree, hey, when I finish my residency, hey, when I become a fellow, hey, when I train and I start my practice, that's when life would begin. But you know what? Life was already going on. Life had started. But I was so focused on the end that I may sometimes have failed to realize that, hey, this is life right here. So the journey, the process is a big part of our success, right? How many people that you know, because of the journey that they were on, it pushed them to success? Because they were able to look at those milestones and say, hey, I am making progress. And so your accountability partner, your accountability coach, helps you to realize and to remember that you are making progress, because sometimes we get bogged down. And remember, that inner critic will tell us how bad we are, how much we're not succeeding, how much we're not doing. But the accountability partner will be there to help us celebrate. So they're a coach, they're a supporter, and they also help us to celebrate. So why does going solo not work? Because when there's no one around, we are much more likely to step off and get off of our plan. And that's because a lot of things begin happening in our lives. Remember, when we're trying to do and learn some new habits, life is going to come. Life is going on. Life is happening. And if we are not careful, then we can be pushed off of that path because we get so caught up in life. And the accountability partner is there to bring us back, to point out to us what our desires were, to remind us of our why. They're there to give us a shoulder to lean on, somebody who can actually help lift us up. Because there are times it's gonna be tough, y'all. I'm gonna tell you, there are times when it's gonna be hard. You're gonna want to not go. You're gonna want to not do. You're gonna want to not feel. And particularly for those of us who use food as a buffering behavior, or some other behavior, right, that we use to buffer. If we're talking about blood sugars, and we're talking about controlling diabetes and our metabolic disease and all those things, you know that food is a huge part of it. And when we are stressed, we're more likely to eat some of those things that we said that we weren't going to, okay? An accountability partner can help us do that. Remember that statistics, 95% the higher chance of being successful if we have an accountability partner. And right now, like I said, I'm walking on campus. I'm gonna, you see all the trees behind me. I'm walking down one of the paths, and I think I like where this is. So I may do some more of this, so you guys get to see this area. Okay, so how do you find an accountability partner? How do you find an accountability partner? And there are a couple of things that you want to look for as you are talking about an accountability partner and looking around to see who's going to be your accountability partner. You want to find someone who has similar values and similar goals. Okay, so someone who is on the path with you, or someone who's been on the path before and who has made some success. Okay, so accountability partner, someone who has similar goals, someone who has similar values to the values that you have, and that allows them to be empathetic, which we'll come to in another point here in just a minute. But if they don't share the same values, then you don't align. You guys don't align together, and sometimes that can cause some issues. Okay, you also want to find someone who is committed and someone who is dependable. Oh, come on. Committed and dependable. You need somebody who, I'll tell you, I had an accountability partner once, and we were supposed to get up and go to the gym. And one morning, it was cold. I was living in Birmingham at the time. It was cold, y'all. And I got up and I called and I said, hey, it's cold outside. Why don't we not go today? And my accountability partner said, man, you were so right. Let's not do it. And you know what happened? We didn't go that day. And it took 2, 3, 4 weeks, I think, to finally get back into the space, into the mindset of getting up in the morning and going, right? So you need somebody, when you call them and say, I'm not going today, they're like, no, come on, we going. We doing this, right? We're not going out like that. So you need somebody who's going to be completely, well, let's just say completely, but they are committed to having this process be successful and work. My hat's about to fly off because it's very windy out here. So let me go ahead and there you go. All right. So we had some storms that came through, and we still got some weather that's supposed to be out here somewhere. All right. Okay. So let's see. So somebody who has similar values, similar goals. Perhaps somebody who's been on the path before. Somebody who's currently on the path with you. And then, of course, someone who is committed. And then somebody who's going to help celebrate, but someone who understands the difference between pushing and being empathetic. Now that sounds simple, right? But you need somebody who's going to push you when you need to be pushed. They're going to say, no, I know it's cold, but we're going to the gym. We're getting up. We're not going to spend our time today not being consistent, right? Somebody who's going to be that person. But you also need somebody who's going to understand and know when, this is perhaps time for us to take a pause. Let's reassess. We've got some things going on that we need to address, right? So they're sympathetic, they're empathetic, but they have your best interest at heart. And so they're going to push you when you need to be pushed, but they're going to understand the times when you need to say, hey, I need to take a pause. I need to take a break. Okay. And they're going to be the person that helps you celebrate as well. Right. So you're not going to have to say, oh, can we just enjoy this part right here? Right. They're going to be right there to say with you, no, come on. You've reached a milestone, and we need to enjoy this milestone right here. And then we get back on and we do what we got to do. Right. So we take care of business. So I have some great accountability partners. And I'll talk to you about a period in my life when, I'll do that right now. So there was this time in my life when I was going through man, it was hard. It was rough. And I was trying to do it on my own. And I just was not succeeding. I was depressed. I was anxious. I was doing supposedly to everybody else the things I was supposed to be doing, but my life was just not going the way I wanted it to go. And I just could not get out of the rut. And I picked up the phone and I called a couple of my partners and I said, hey, kind of told them the story, told them what was going on. And we decided that we were going to meet every Wednesday. And we picked a particular time. And every Wednesday, we were on the phone. I think we started with maybe Zoom, or actually was Zoom back? Yeah. We started with a phone call, and then we were on Zoom, we were on FaceTime, we were on WhatsApp, we were on all kinds of things. And those guys, I'm telling you, pulled me, pushed me, carried me, supported me, understood me, and helped me be successful in this phase of my life. So when I talk about accountability, I'm not talking about something that I say, okay, this is a theory. This is something that in my life that has been a rock for me. And we met about for 8 years, y'all. Right? We met for a long time. In fact, our kids started knowing that it's going to be on Wednesday. Our wives knew there was nothing going on Wednesday because we're going to be on the phone, right? In fact, I dare say that part of what I see in some of the other people around me is a direct result of the fact that me and my partners were meeting, okay? So accountability is so important. So when you get an accountability partner, what do you do? What do you do? How do you structure that? So number one, there has to be clear goals. You have to know the reason for this accountability relationship. So when you talk to the accountability partner, hey, this is my goal, this is where I need support. You guys talk about when you're gonna meet, how often you're gonna meet, what's gonna be the structure of the conversation when you meet. So don't just let it be arbitrary. Don't just let, call me if you need me. Because several things can happen in that case. Number one, we tend to isolate when we have problems. We tend to isolate when we're not doing what we said we were going to do, right? So the chances of you just randomly calling your accountability partner just because if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, it's low. But if you have a time, you say, okay, we're meeting every Wednesday, every Thursday, every whatever, we're meeting at this particular time, then it doesn't matter what's going on in your life, right? That's the time we meet. Now, we may decide that we're changing that time based on what's happening in your life, because I just said the accountability partner also understands, but it's not going to be just some random thing. The other thing is, when you set up your accountability partner system, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you guys understand what the goals are for the conversation. So what are we going to be talking about? Is there a structure that we need to put in place for this particular conversation that we're going to have? I'm going over here. I see, I've never been over here before. So got some rocks, nice little building. This is a community center here on the campus. Oh, wow, look at that. That's beautiful. I'm gonna turn around so you guys can see behind me. All right, so that's the campus. Campus back there. Just beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna walk back up here. Okay, so what's the conversation gonna be? So we're not just calling each other just to shoot the breeze. Now, we may end up shooting the breeze, but the first point of order of business is accountability. Now, when I do my coaching, one of the first things I start with is we do a centering exercise, and then we talk about a win. Like, what is a win, 1 or 2 wins that you've had this week? Sometimes we get so bogged down in the obstacles and the difficulty that we fail to talk about the wins. So I would recommend in your structure, whatever you guys do, that you set up, hey, we're going to talk about some wins, and then we're going to talk about where I am right now, what goals have I accomplished, what things did I set out to do in our last check-in, in our last accountability session that I've accomplished, where have I had some challenges, how do I set myself up for success as I move forward, and then what are some goals for the next accountability session, what the time is, and all those things, right? There are other things that you could add in there, and we'll actually do a session where we talk about the conversation for the accountability partner. But that's the idea, that you're setting up not just some random thing, but this is the thing that we're saying is going to give us 95% higher chance of being successful. So let's do this right? So let's make sure that structurally it is what we want and it is designed the way we intend for it to be. And that sets us up for success. Remember, we're talking about consistency, right? We're talking about consistency and what we do. All right. So here are some tips. Here are some tips that I want you to remember as we talk about consistency and we talk about accountability. Number one, I want you to learn to set clear goals. You guys knew I was coming back with that, right? So, what is the accountability partner going to hold you accountable for? Right? You got to know that. And in order to know that, you've got to have some clear goals. Now, you and the accountability partner may start talking and say, hey, I've got some ideas about what I want to do. And they may be even able to help you solidify or crystallize some of those goals. But you've got to have an idea of what you want. It's almost like, well, I shouldn't say almost, it is like, going up to someone you want to be your mentor and say, hey, I want you to mentor me. And they say, okay, what are you trying to do? You say, I don't know. Well, guess what? If you don't know, then how can I mentor you? Right? Now, you can come to me and you can say, hey, I have an idea of a direction I'd like to go. I think I would like to do what you do, right? And this is what I've researched. This is where I think I want to be, and I'd like you to help me in that process. That's a whole different conversation than, well, I don't know what I want to do, but can you be my mentor, right? Yeah, I know. I was at a conference recently, and one of the presenters was saying the exact same thing for the people. Say, hey, if you're going to be my mentor, if you're going to ask me to be your mentor, hey, come on, okay? And then I talked about scheduling. Make sure that this is not a random, just haphazard thing that you're doing. This is a tool, a skill that you are putting in place to help you be successful. And then celebrate. Celebration. Yeah, sorry. I know. You want to celebrate. You want to celebrate. Man, I can't tell you how much energy celebration brings into your life when you see that you're able to achieve one of those milestones. Okay? Having that milestone come, show up, and giving you the opportunity to mark that, right? You put it in the ground right here. There are some things right now that I tell my son, that I share with my son, stories that I tell him that were celebrations from some of the milestones in things in my life. And I could point back to that event. That's one of the wonderful reasons, one of the most important reasons for journaling, for recording, for documenting. So not just that you are putting it down so you say, okay, I made progress, but you can go back and you can celebrate that thing. You can remember it. You can remember, I was talking to one of our team members at work, and one of the things that we were talking about was the ability to go back and read something that you've written a year ago, 2 years ago, last week even, where you thought, oh man, life was gone, life was done because of this situation that was happening. And now you look at that situation and you're like, man, I don't know why I thought that. Maybe it wasn't as bad, right? And here's a statistic. I'm gonna give you a statistic. And you're getting a preview of this. 91%, 91.4% of all the things that we ever worry about never come true. 91.4. Okay? So journaling allows us to be objective. It allows us to mark. It allows us to put a pin in those things that we're doing to say, okay, no, this is a success right here. And we can begin celebrating. So make sure you're celebrating. Make sure you and your accountability partner or group is, you guys have set up the ability to do that. In this space, right? In this space right here, reach out and find an accountability partner. We'll come to that here in just a minute. So accountability is your superpower for consistency. Consistency is your superpower for success, for unlocking that unlimited potential that you have within you. And you want to make sure that you set yourself up for success as we move through this space.
48 seconds. Total distance 3.0 miles. Average pace 28 minutes 55 seconds per mile. Split pace 26 minutes 9 seconds per mile.
So that was my that was my app cutting in, and you saw me cut off there for a minute. It was just giving the statistics. Oh, let's change this. Oops, wrong way. It was just giving the statistics for my walk as we head back in this direction. So, accountability. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that in all the things that you're doing in your journey, that you're setting yourself up for success in what you do. Because often we don't fail, or we don't fail to succeed because we don't have a desire, or we don't not even because we don't know what to do. We don't succeed because we don't have a process, we don't have structure, and we don't have accountability. I'm walking across the grass right here in this field. Let me turn around so you guys can. Alright, so that is part of the garden that they have here on campus. And then over on this side, this is one of my favorite places. That's the pond. When I was a student, we hung out there quite a bit. Yeah. So, all right, so we're gonna head back. All right, so accountability partners, and accountability procedures. So now that we've covered that topic, right? I want you to accept a challenge. And the challenge is this. The challenge is to find an accountability partner. You can find them in your space at home, a family member, a friend, someone on your job that you are particularly close to. You could find an accountability partner here in this group that says, hey, we're going to be accountable. We're heading in the same direction. We have similar values. I'm committed. I'm dependable. I'm going to help you celebrate. I'm going to be your coach. I'm going to be your supporter. I'm going to be the person that's going to be there in your corner and let you know that you're doing a great job, that you need to pivot, that you need to change, that you need to do something different. I'm going to be that person for you, right? So find an accountability partner. That's your challenge. Remember, the journey is about the progress. We love the destination. We want to get to that destination, but the process is important. We're all about process, progress, not perfection. We talked about perfection in one of our shows, one of our walks several days ago, okay? So we're about the process, and we want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success. All right, so celebrate. And I want to thank you for joining me on this 100-day walk to consistency. You want to make sure that you are taking the time to go through the workbook. You're taking the time to evaluate. And like I said, Take those sheets. You're creating a manual. You're creating a manual for your success. That's what that is, right? This consistency, the things you're learning, the tools, the conversations we're having. It is a manual that you're putting together, and as you're moving through each of these days, you are learning and you are growing and you're becoming much better at what you need to do. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for Endocrinology. And here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. And I want you to join me tomorrow for day number 9 of our 100-day walk to consistency. Thank you for hanging out with me. Bye-bye.